I know it's kind of crazy, but they would have 4 different systems that might have only taken 30 seconds to a minute each time they're looking. To multiply that times 30 times a day, okay, so 4 different systems, it's probably taking 10 minutes per customer, right? And we've removed, we've basically said, because we can kind of now use systemization and automation to merge all of that information into the email, it's actually reduced a 10-minute task that happens 30 times a day for each of their 5 team members down to 30 seconds.
Welcome to Season 5 of Manage Self, Lead Others with host Nina Sunday. This season, as well as workplace culture, we're going deeper into embedding innovation, AI, and invisible patterns shaping how we lead. Each episode, bold thinkers join us to explore how to lead with intention, elevate team culture, and stay future ready. The future of leadership starts with the questions we ask.
Tim Hyde is founder of winmoreclients.com.au. He's an author and host of the More Clients, Less Effort podcast. With 30 years digital marketing experience, Tim Hyde has been fascinated by business since childhood. Tim helps leaders use technology and automation to communicate better and grow smarter. I appeared on episode 16 of his More Clients, Less Effort podcast, where we explored purpose-driven business and leadership. Well, welcome, my friend Tim Hyde from Canberra, Australia.
Nina, it's fantastic to be here. Thanks for the invitation to join the show.
Well, I was curious, as I think my listeners might be, on how I can better automate processes in my business. But tell us why that before sales, marketing, delivery, lead handling, and decision making comes first.
I think this is one of the things that I've looked at kind of over the course of my career in tech, I guess. Right? I'd always been interested in business as a kid, and I blame Uncle Scrooge for that. Another story. But when I first went to uni in the early 90s, this is a time before the internet. All right.
I remember.
One of the things that we would do was we would, in the old dot matrix paper when we were writing code, is we would sort of lay it all down the sort of middle of the dorm room, and with a red pen you'd go through it and start at line 1, and you try and sort of debug your bit of code, and then you sort of fix it, recompile it, give it to the computer, which would take several hours to do when you go to the pub, and when I sort of got into the workforce and was doing the same sorts of things. And then I was fortunate enough to launch a social media site in the late 90s with a bunch of mates, which was one of Australia's first social media platforms. Noticed the same thing in a marketing context, that like the journey that customers take is very much like lines of code. It starts at line 1 and goes line 2, line 3, line 4. And if you have a break in your customer journey that's not architected, your customers or your program doesn't run, and the program in this case is your business.
Yes.
Right?
You don't get the sale.
you don't get the sale. You don't get the raving fan, and so on. And it was, I was kind of, having these epiphany moments. This is just like writing code. All you need to throw the whole thing out and start again. You just need to fix that one broken line of marketing code or business code, and your customer will take the next step because it's easier than staying where they are.
Okay, so if a C-suite leader or a people manager is listening to this right now, what's the first opportunity that they can be thinking about to start the automation, finding spaces to add automation? Is that the right language?
I've got a rule, and I cover this in my book.
This one, the effortless growth engine.
The effortless growth engine, that one there. So how to automate your business for more clients with less effort, basically. So same sort of process. I have a thing in that I call focus as a framework of working what to do. And F stands for, what is the frequency of this thing that occurs? Right? So if it's something that you're only doing once a year, right, maybe submitting your tax return, there's probably limited utility value in automating that thing, right? But something that you might do 3, 4, 5 times a day or 3, 4, 5 times an hour, right? That's something that particularly, if it's a simple task that's repetitive, that takes less than 5 to 7 minutes, that's something that is absolutely a candidate for automation. And so one of the things that we've seen a lot of people adopt over the last probably 10 years particularly, certainly over the last 5 since COVID, is the automation of calendar appointments. Right?
Yes.
So you'll send your Calendly or Schedule Once or whatever link to someone and they'll just book their own appointment in. Part of an automated process because it's something that happens frequently.
Yes.
Okay. Now, O stands for overdue. How long has this thing been bugging you? Right. Now, if it's something that's only come up in the last week, it may not necessarily be a high priority candidate for something that needs to be automated. Right. So, when we look at sort of overdue, is this thing happening repeatedly? So, have you been doing appointments for several years? Okay. There's an opportunity. It shows a pattern of behavior over time, right, that we know that there's benefit in doing so because it's likely to continue than just something that came up on Thursday this week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's the C, right? The third one is C for customer impact. Now, this is a really important one, I think, because ultimately automation isn't necessarily about, what's the word I want to use here? Just saving time. And generally speaking, we see journeys of things, right? First it's organization, then it's leverage, all right? But
it's reducing mistakes too or gaps.
It's reducing the gaps. But the real impact here is the customer impact because what we want trying to do with automation is create intimacy at scale. Okay.
I like that.
All right. So if you're sending that text message about your haircut, which clearly I haven't had in a while, it's not, hey, your appointment's on tomorrow. It's hey, Tim, your appointment's on tomorrow. Let me know if it's still good for you.
Because there are fields to insert the first name.
That's correct. So we're collecting information about our customers in our database.
Yes.
And using that information wisely to deepen a relationship. It's not just about being more efficient and transactional. Ultimately, we want to deepen a relationship with our connections. Okay. So, send a birthday card that says, hey, Nina, happy birthday. Congratulations on your new book, whatever. Do I have an automation that sends you a Christmas card at the 20th December that says, hey, Nina, it was awesome to get to know you this year, even though we haven't spoken for almost 12 months. Okay. And so we can use automation and technology to create that leverage and that customer impact in doing so. Okay.
Right.
U stands for underutilized assets, right? Do we have things already that we're not using? So, you just held up my book there, Nina. I know you've got several books already, Manage Self, Lead Others and Workplace Wisdom. And you have this podcast. We're creating content all the time. Are we using that to leverage in our automations? Okay, so maybe before the meeting you have with someone, that calendar meeting you have with someone, you send an excerpt of one of your books or a podcast episode.
Yes.
It says, hey, before we catch up, this is one of my most popular episodes. I thought you might like to take a listen.
That's a good idea.
Okay.
I should do that more often.
We've often got, particularly if you've been in business for a while, we've got lots of assets that we can leverage and use, but we often don't. They're hidden away in a Google folder somewhere or on a OneDrive or, and not really utilized. And the last one is for strategic leverage. Okay. A lot of people think we need to kind of build the Taj Mahal from the ground up. We just need to start with something simple and then build upon it. So if I can build a process about sending someone a birthday card, what else is an annual event? Maybe there's a client anniversary, right, that I can do. And, I can take the same framework that I've done for my birthday cards to use in a different context as well.
Well, it's interesting that you're talking about cards because you see sometimes when past clients unsubscribe from my weekly or fortnightly, every 2 weeks electronic direct mail, Well, they're not hearing from me. See, I get a lot of people say if I contact them subsequently, they'll say, "Oh, yes, I get your emails." But what about those that don't? So we have to think of other ways to stay in contact with past clients.
Yeah, well, we want to use, automation is just the system. Okay, it's not the message and it's not the means. Right? So the message could be whatever. Right?
There's a do not call register, but there's not a do not post register.
That's true. That's true, right? And the message can be delivered by SMS, by voice, by email, by lumpy mail, via phone call.
Yeah, I like the phrase lumpy mail in case anyone missed it. Lumpy mail just means sending something that makes the envelope curious. Like,
it's not
a movie company sends a tea bag.
It's not a windowed envelope that says "Dear householder."
But it's a freebie, a little free thing of some sort or some gadget.
If you consider what you get in your post box now, right? Most of it's either catalogs for your local pizza joint, right? Or free gym memberships. Someone passing the word of God, that might have appeared in your letterbox every so often. Letters from the government saying you've got a speeding fine or something similar. Right? And if you consider all these things, they're all largely windowed envelopes. Okay, it's printed that window with your name and address typed onto the letterhead of the thing, right? But if you had imagine this, right? You've got then a small parcel or an envelope that's lumpy, right? It's packed full of stuff, right? Packet of jelly beans, I don't know, whatever. Okay, that's what we mean by lumpy mail. It's in your letterbox, and suddenly it's not in a white windowed envelope. It's in a green envelope or a blue one or a red one or something. Which one are you going to open first? You're going to go, what the hell is that? And you open it, and there's a packet of jelly beans or a Pez dispenser or a stuffed toy or whatever, right? You're going to go, what is this thing? I've actually seen people send colanders, to represent their leaky funnels.
Oh, right.
You're going to get something. All of a sudden, you're going to open this thing up, and then there's a letter. You're going to say, what is this? Who is this from? And you're going to read this letter.
Yeah.
Okay, that all of a sudden is, addressed to you. And that's what and those kinds of things can get massive cut through where an email, along with all the other 300 or 400 emails we get a day, may not necessarily get the same cut through. It's more expensive, yes, but what we're trying to do again is deepen relationships with people, and we've got all these tools available to us. We need to be a bit smarter about how we use them.
Okay, the U in focus was unused assets. The S.
Okay, for strategic leverage. Okay, can I expand on this, or can I use it for something else as well?
You said this place was steps from the water.
We just haven't found the steps yet.
How much did we save?
Enough.
Enough to get lost?
Or you could book a stay with Hilton.
Welcome to your oceanfront room. Just steps from the water.
The Hilton sale is on now. Book on Hilton.com or the Hilton app and save up to 20% to get the stay you expected. When you want savings, not surprises, it matters where you stay. Hilton, for the stay.
Can you expand on that, please?
Sure. Okay. Well, again, let's take let's just revisit the birthday one. If I've got a campaign where it waits until someone's birthday and then sends them a thing, email, SMS, whatever, to say, hey, Nina, I know it's your birthday, happy birthday. And for a lot of organisations, we collect birthdays. Not always, but a lot of organisations will collect the birthday of their clients. Okay. If I'm collecting birthdays for my clients and I've got a campaign built around wait until this particular anniversary date and run it, okay, and send the birthday message or whatever, okay, that is a campaign that can, or a system that can be leveraged to other anniversary type things. So what else has anniversaries in Australia? Australia Day is an anniversary. Christmas is an anniversary. New Year's Day is an anniversary. Client start date is an anniversary.
Right.
Okay. And so we can use the same infrastructure in a different context to create this touch point that recognizes an anniversary milestone.
So that's talking about past clients and staying in touch with them. Now, Simon Reynolds talked about own the indecision period, right? In other words, you've sent the proposal, but you have to, even if they say, oh, we're not doing something now, you still have to stay in touch, because there's lots of stories of you do finally get in touch with them again and they say, oh, we went with someone else, and, oh, well, we forgot about you.
Yeah, well, that's often the thing, right? I recall a client I had several years ago who met with a prospect. They were keen to go ahead, was asked to send a proposal. Week went past, didn't send the proposal. 2 weeks went past, didn't send the proposal. 3 weeks went past, was starting to get slightly embarrassed and thought, oh, they're probably gone with someone else now, so we won't send it. And then fully 6 months later, bumped into that prospect in the supermarket aisle.
Right.
And the guy has said, are you going to send me that proposal? We'd still like to go ahead. Right. So it's crazy. It's crazy
like
to think about. It's crazy to think about that sort of thing. So in when we build that for clients, we call it a sales recovery engine.
Yes, okay. yes.
So the decision point that you have during your sales process is either yes, let's do it now, no, I need more time, or no, it's not a good fit for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Okay. And even if a client says no, it just means not right now. That's the sort of the middle bucket. Either you're deciding they're not a good fit and you can't help them, in which case you refer them somewhere else. It's a not yet, or it's a yes now. Now the yes now, fine. We're gonna onboard them. We're gonna do our thing, right? But the not right now, or I've gone with someone else. If you're collecting details, about that prospect as part of your sales process, having them fill out some forms, even as part of your sales conversation now. And this is where AI note takers are brilliant at sort of extracting details and stuff like that. You can start to put those people into a system that says, well, I'm going to reach out at 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, 365 days, right? And so if I said to you, Nina, let's go for argument's sake, you're at $500,000 and your goal was to get to $1 million over the 12 months. And I reach out 12 months later and I said, hey, Nina, hope you will. Again, this is an anniversary thing, anniversary of our sales call. I know when we spoke, you were trying to, your goal was to double your business over the last 12 months. Just wondering how you went on, And of course, you're probably going, I didn't hit my $1 million target without you. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't, who knows? But now I can say, I know when we spoke, you were talking about doubling your business to insert number. How did you get on? Is now a good time to revisit that goal and see how we can help you achieve it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's a system. Now all I've done is merge Hyde name. When we spoke on insert date, you said, this is what you want to achieve. How did you go with that goal? Is hitting insert amount still a priority for you? Would love to catch up and see how we can support you in achieving that in insert year. Now, effectively what we've done is we've got a template that we're now taking out details of a conversation, using AI to then manipulate it into those merge fields, and then waiting 12 months and just merging those details into the communication to you.
Are you saying that the client might prepare this email and diarise it to send?
No, I'm not even diarising it. I'm literally just putting it as a merge field. It says triggers off the back of the conversation.
Right. Interesting. So obviously you started life as a coder. You've really, turned into this global expert in automation. So I think probably the biggest mistake is businesses trying to do it themselves and kind of work it out. And if they haven't got an automation expert already, they need a fractional one, someone that they can,
It does help. It does make things a lot easier. Yes.
So they can invest time to save time and to get a better result.
Yeah, well, that's the big challenge that we face as business owners, right? We either learn from other people and the mistakes and the things that they've done, and follow in their footsteps. And we pay for that privilege, or we take longer and we try and learn those lessons ourselves. Okay,
now,
which
Tim,
is cheaper, but we spend a lot more time doing it. And that's a decision that's deeply personal to every single business owner about which resource is more important to you. Is it money and purchasing that expertise and time back, or do you want to learn it yourself and take longer and potentially make those mistakes?
And Tim, we are coming to the end of our time, and this has been a fascinating conversation. I'm learning a lot. Tell us a brief story about how some intervention that you created for a company to automate some process that really had an 80-20 result. 20% of effort resulted in an 80% result.
I think that the biggest thing is that when we look at automation, and I would have done more than 1,000 CRM implementations in 38 countries now. So it's a bit insane just to sort of pick one.
Say that again, 1,000 CRM implementations.
I think it's about 1,100 CRM implementations in
38 countries, including the US,
including
Asia,
the US and Oman and Asia and New Zealand and Europe and Africa. And
you are truly a global expert.
done a few of these things now that most people start, they just do one step. But it's always, to me, it's always and then what? All right. So if I've got a calendar, something as simple as a calendar appointment that I'm sharing with someone, I could just leave it at that thing, or I could say, and then what do I want to happen? All right. And that's the real mastery of building systems in your business is how do you create leverage on leverage on leverage on leverage on leverage. And it's ironically there's little micro things that make massive difference.
Okay, and what's your website again, Tim?
So you can find that and a ton of other resources as well at winmoreclients.com.au. I know that'll be in the show.
Yeah, so it's .com.au and the AU is for Australia, but Tim's a global expert.
Yep.
So thanks for coming on, Tim. It's been fun speaking with you again this time. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Nina.
My guest today was Tim Hyde. His company is winmoreclients.com.au. His podcast is More Clients, Less Effort. And you can head to his website and download any one of his PDFs. My name is Nina Sunday, and this is the Manage Self, Lead Others show. You can listen on all the major podcast apps and watch the video on YouTube and Spotify. And if you are enjoying the show, one way to support it is to leave a 5-star review. That can only be done at the moment on Apple Podcasts phone app. You just scroll past the first 8 episodes or so to where it reads ratings and reviews, tap the 5 stars, and you can add a quick comment as well. And that simple act helps other leaders discover the show. Until next time, stay curious and get some help with automation. Automate all the little tasks that are repetitive. Until next time, bye for now.
Manage Self, Lead Others has launched the book, available on Amazon, paperback, Kindle and audiobook. Not transcripts, but it's Nina Sunday's reflections on the big ideas and insights from each guest, and is adventure calling. If podcasting is the new white paper, then a travel retreat is the new corporate offsite. Short retreats in exotic locations are launching this year, so head to ninasunday.com to express your interest and be part of this learning meets travel chapter for leaders, people managers and entrepreneurs. Plus, looking for a conference speaker or workshop facilitator to up-level your team in Australia or anywhere in the world? Visit brainpowertraining.com.au or ninasunday.com. Until you tune in next time.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.